everyone. Thanks for tuning into Sims Workshop. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. So, today we are going to be reviewing Vampire Weekend by Mike Chen. I have to say, this is not... I love vampire stuff. I really do. But if you were to go to the bookstore, you would find this book in the fiction section and not the sci-fi or fantasy section. So I'm really glad that it came across my radar because I absolutely adored this book. You know that show Being Human, right? The US one, not the UK one. This book is so Being Human vibes. It was so good. I liked that the US version of Being Human more than the UK version of Being Human. I think they did a really better job with the characterization and storylines there. But my goodness, this book is probably why I love this book so much, because I'm such a huge fan of Being Human. And Louise, she's Asian American. She is a punk rocker. She says, "That's not punk rock," a lot. And I'm just like, yes, for sure. 100%. I love you. And she's always debunking vampire myths. She's like, vampire myths #1. That's how a lot of the chapters start. Not every single chapter. Otherwise that would get tedious and boring. But that's how a lot of the chapters start. And I think that that's so funny because there's a lot of realism to the storytelling, which I guess is why you would find it in the fiction section of your local bookstore. It's like urban fantasy, I guess. And it follows Louise. She's not like ancient. She was turned in the early 80s. 80s, let me see. I feel like that's too late. I'm doing the math in my head because her brother does make an appearance. I'm just thinking. It seems too late. So I want to say late 1970s, early 1980s. I didn't actually put it in my notes. But she's not like ancient. She lives by herself, obviously. She works as a janitor in a hospital, obviously. It's where she gets her blood. And she's really kept herself estranged from both the human community and the vampire community. You know, she's a punk rocker. She wants to be in bands. She's got a guitar. She's got a drum set. She's all about that punk rock lifestyle, but she really doesn't have any connection to her family. She left because she wasn't the Asian American daughter that they wanted. She went and to go live with her lesbian great aunt because she's cool, and also kind of the black sheep of the rigid family. And when she dies, again, she's alone, but then she meets this cool guy and they become friends, and then he dies and she's alone, and she's kind of figured out there's no point in forming connections. So she's really isolated herself. But then, the past comes in. She meets Ian, and turns out he is her great nephew. And he discovers her secret, and his dad's dead, his mom's dying, and he's just kind of lost. So these are like two lost souls, and they're really trying to help each other reconnect with their family and finding that familial connection. And that's really the depth of the story. Yeah, you can be immortal, but what is the point of immortality if you're not going to allow yourself to have those connections with people? Is it going to be sad when they pass away? For sure, honestly. But you're not really living. That's just another person that you can continue living your life for. And she stopped herself from living. She became stagnant because she's not forming those connections with other people to really let people into her heart and let herself be in the hearts of other people. And it's very sad, that part of the story. But you see her grow, you see her develop, and I love that part of the story. That depth to the narrative. Yeah, yes, you can have a story about a vampire, but you can be comical because there are a lot of... Louise is funny. Like whenever she has to go out in the daylight, she is funny. She's like, where's my motorcycle helmet? She lathers, she just covers herself. And then you have her interactions with Eric and her interactions with Serena. I mean, this is another thing I love about the story. You have side characters who are only in there for like a few scenes at a time, but they somehow steal the show. And you're still able to see the growing connections between her and these characters. And honestly, I love that about the story. I love that depth that went into the storytelling. And I like how it moves at a really steady and fast pace while still being moving and thoughtful and funny. And while also not losing that kind of urban fantasy twist to the story. I mean, the punk rock attitude is all throughout this narrative, and I'm here for it. Clearly, I'm here for it. I just had such a strong connection to the story. I loved, again, that depth. I loved the way that Mike Chen was able to tell a fantasy story, an urban fantasy story, but really have a lot of realism to it. You know, these aren't just sparkly vampires who are super strong and they have powers and all that other stuff. It's just like, no, we're just, you know, our teeth are sharper, but, you know, they can't always penetrate your skin. And yeah, we're strong, but we're not like super strong. And yeah, we're fast, but we're not like fast. It's just like, we're just immortal dudes. And I like that about the story. It was fun, it was lighthearted, but it was deep and it was moving. And also, again, lots of being human vibes. Like, if you're trying to match a vibe for being human, if that has, like, been a void in your life since that show ended, this is definitely the book for you. So, on that note, you know, I have to give this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. It really was a moving story, and I really did love it. And I love vampires, and I clearly love punk rock. And I like deep, moving stories. And it was just wonderful to read, 100%. So yeah, 4.5 out of 5 stars. I will include links in the description below where you can purchase the book if you so desire. And on that note, thank you all for watching. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with all your book-loving friends. And on that note, I hope you all have a wonderful punk rock rest of your day. Happy reading.